Greetings, my name is Nathan and I will be your guide for this world tour of music. Grab your guitar and pocket your passport. We're off to Australia to spend a little time with Tommy Emmanuel and explore the art of musical storytelling. Tommy Emmanuel, CGP, is quite simply one of the greatest fingerstyle guitarists of all time. Known for his complex techniques, energetic performances, and prolific songwriting, Tommy has released several award-winning albums and singles. Just ask John Mayer, who said, "When you see Tommy play, it's like watching somebody who has discovered the secret of guitar." Ready to disembark? Grab your guitar and let's dig in with Tommy.
People are very curious about when I do my little drum solos and stuff on the guitar, and you know, play the microphone with a brush. And play with a brush on the guitar face and stuff like that. Well, it's not the same thing as, you know, people who play like drum kind of patterns and fit that into a song and play the pattern all the way and fit the song in. You know, I can't do all that stuff. It's way too much to be doing all at once, to me. So what I do is, when I play a drum thing, I play drummer's chops. I play drummer's ideas and percussion. So I tend to play things that if I had a drum kit, I could play on the drums, right? So, for instance, there's a typical pattern that you get playing like a cowbell and toms and stuff. So, right? So then you add that. Right, and that's right, and that's a typical Latin kind of pattern. And sometimes I add like boom, 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 boom. That's a Mozambique. So. Those kind of sounds, and I get, you know, I can get all different kind of drummer sounds and the sounds of certain fills and things like that, you know. And I try to think outside the box when I play drum things, and you know. I'm always looking for something different. So depending on you know what you're playing through. Here in this studio, I'm not playing through anything. I've got a little amp over there and these microphones. So, but when I'm playing with a big PA and everything's a lot louder, I can get certain frequencies and certain sounds by hitting in different places, you know. So basically my drumming thing with my guitar is not, you know, like a modern day acoustic player who might play like a whole percussive pattern while fitting that into the song. I don't do that stuff, but there are a lot of people out there who do it well, and that kind of thing is, you have to be really good at that stuff to make it work. So, yeah, I just think like a drummer when I'm playing these drum things, okay? So listening to all these songwriters over the years, and I still do, helped me to become a songwriter. It was a slow process. Because I was anxious to write my own songs and play my own song. In fact, the first song I ever wrote, I was very young. I was probably 8 or 9, and my mother called it Tommy's song, right? And I would play it for people, but I'm sure it was no good because I was so young and I had nothing to draw on, really. But, you know, the funny thing was, years ago when my sister Virginia was still alive, one day we were talking about that song and having a bit of a laugh about our childhood. And, you know, she could still remember that melody. She's the only one who could. I couldn't. And so, you know, when young people say to me now, you know, I've been, you know, writing songs for a few years and I'm just not happy with any of it. You know, it's no good and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how old are you? And they're like, well, I'm 16. Well, I said, well, I'm not surprised. When I was 16, I wrote, you know, so many forgettable pieces. You know, I wrote a lifetime of forgettable music before anything started to stick. And, you know, I went through periods of trying to learn how to write. You know, I would hear, you know, a Wes Montgomery tune, or I would hear a Earl Klugh song, and I would try to write something like that, you know, and it always ended up either too simple or not jazzy enough, or, you know, it was, I was still, you know, in my infancy as a songwriter. But some of the songs started to stick, and I'll just give you an idea of some of my earliest compositions. Here's one that I wrote for a baby that was not yet born, and it was still inside its mother, and her name was Amy. I wrote this song for Amy. So that's Amy. That was one of my early compositions, mid to late 70s.